This week in Alaskan history, our first elected governor was born in 1914.
That would be William A. Egan, a guy who almost didn't make it through his first few days in office back in 1959. Well, how come? Author Laurel Downing Bill joins us back on the couch with the answer. It is story time with Ann Phil. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, Egan, the only Alaska-born governor in the state's history until Bill Walker recently, took his oath of office moments after President Eisenhower signed the paperwork that made Alaska a state January 3rd, 1959. And then his second in command, Hugh Wade, took his oath just a few minutes later.
And we'll see in just a moment, Egan had a smile on his face in that photo, but he wasn't exactly feeling too hot, was he?
No, he'd not been feeling well, but he kept up with the celebration for the state and walked down to a local theater in Juneau and gave a speech before 1,000 people. But about an hour later, he walked into St. Anne's Hospital, and doctors evaluated him, and a couple days later, they removed his gallbladder and his gallstone. And Alaskans were all thrilled when they heard the news that the doctor said the operation was a complete success. But then a couple days later, Egan suffered a pancreatic attack, which meant that he had to fly down to Seattle, Virginia Mason, and he underwent a 4-hour emergency surgery. And after that, the doctors came out and they were not optimistic about his chances for survival. In fact, they gave him less than 50% chance to survive.
Oof. So from what I've read, life was never really easy for the guy, even growing up.
That's right. His father died when he was only 6 years old. He was killed in an avalanche in Valdez. So Egan watched as his mother struggled. She took in laundry from people. She worked nursing people. She even took a part-time job as a jail matron just to make ends meet so she could feed her 7 children. By the time Egan was 10, he was working in a cannery while he was going to school just to help supplement the family income. He also taught himself to drive. And within the summer times, then he would drive tourists around Valdez. And then he also learned to fly. And he caught the eye of Bob Reeve, who eventually began Revolution Airways, and flew supplies to camps for him, and then also became Reeve's airplane mechanic.
Oh, wow. So when did he get into politics?
Oh, you can thank his godfather for that. His godfather was Anthony Diamond, for whom many things in Alaska or Anchorage are named. Diamond became Alaska's non-voting delegate to Congress in the 1930s, and he would send back the congressional record to Valdez. Well, young Bill Egan just devoured all those documents, and he would debate issues with anyone who would listen. And his interest grew to the point where he served in this territorial House of Representatives. He served as a territorial senator, also the chairman of the Alaska Constitutional Convention, 1955-56, and then became Alaska's first governor. And he did all this while he suffered one of the most common fears known to man. He was deathly afraid of public speaking.
Wow, overcoming that and being in the political forum, dealing with the constituents is something. So back to 1959, he takes his oath before being admitted to the hospital, but the story, as you just mentioned, it does have a happy ending.
Yes, he did survive. He came back to Juneau a couple months later and took the helm and guided Alaska through those early years of statehood, serving as our governor until 1966. And then he was elected again in 1970 to 1974. Governor Egan died of lung cancer in 1984, and then our legislature wanted to honor him for his service during territorial days as well as statehood days. And so in 1985, they proclaimed that his birthday, October 8th, would be the William A. Egan Day.